Alright, this is going to be an introductory shitty tutorial on how to cut stuff down into 2 minutes or around 2 minutes or so. So you're going to start off by get a song that you like, and you're just going to find the BPM of this. I'm just going to load it up until foobar here. And then literally just go in Google and type in BPM tapper. First result seems to do fine. Alright, and just skip to some random part around here. Alright, so that's probably 175. So we're going to set our project BPM over here. It's in the top left corner. 175. Now there's two interfaces here enabled, and there's this thing you're looking at, which is session, and there's also an arrangement view. I actually don't know how to use this. You can switch between the two on the right side. There's these two buttons you can click. You can also just hit tab on the keyboard. You're going to want to use this. There's two MIDI tracks and two audio tracks here on the right side you can see. Since we're not going to be using MIDI for this, we're just going to be playing with audio. You can select these two, hold down shift if you want to select multiple, and delete this two. Alright, take your song, drag it in. You can get a little bit of space to work it in the front. So this thing should load, and at the bottom here at this panel you can see there's a tab here. You can click that's either audio, or you can click the waveform. This is going to open the thing up. So by default it does this really convenient thing where it warps the BPM it warps the song to the expected BPM. So here it's giving us a guess of 175.02, and you'll see the warp tab is on. Now we probably won't be needing this because it doesn't, it's electronic, so it should already be a perfect BPM. Obviously, if your thing is live recorded music or something irritating, you can always turn on the warp. You can right click where you'd like to start, and you can always do warp from here. We're not going to be doing that, so we're just going to choose a nice good downbeat. You see there's already one chosen for us here, and by the way, to navigate, you're going to grab the top where the circle thing shows up. Grab it up and down, left and right. We'll let you drag around and zoom. So we're going to just set... right click this tab, and we're going to set 111 here. So it's going to set the very beginning of our audio file right here, and if you zoom in all the way, you'll see that the waveform pretty much starts on a downbeat there, so that's good. We can disable warp now because we won't be using that. Drag this guy forward a bit and bring it back to the beginning of the song. Alright, so now we're going to cut this thing up into its constituent parts. So we have the song, we have warps off, we have BPM set to 175, which it should be, and we just want to double check, sanity check, make sure that this is correct. So turn on metronomes over here, top left. Now the vast majority of music ever written is going to be in 4/4. If you have a need to change that, you can change it to 3 or 5 or whatever wacky number. Yeah, but it's probably going to be in 4/4. Turn on this thing. You can lower the volume of this track a little bit if you want to hear metronome clearer. So. Alright, so there's no drift in that, so it means 175 is the correct BPM. We have the thing synced properly, it sounds like it's good. And oh yeah, side note, if you want to move around, same thing, drive around at the top here, left and right, and up and down. We'll let you zoom in and out. You can also just hit plus and minus on the numpad on your keyboard that will let you zoom in and out. Okay. We're going to cut this thing up into its parts so we can chop it down into 2 minutes. At the bottom here, there's a timer, you'll see. It goes from, 0 to whatever. And if you select a certain section on here, also at the bottom of your screen down here, it's going to show, how long that selection is. For example, this selection is 1 minute and 22 seconds. If you right-click the title bar of anything, you can change its color. I like to set white for unallocated. And here's some intro. We can ignore that for now. The actual music starts here. So you can hit Control E to split the... Control E will split the clip into 2 parts. So this is our first part. Oh, also we just set the volume back to 0. Alright, so this is the first section here. Let's mark it red. I usually just go in rainbow order because it just makes things convenient. So you'll see that these two sections are basically the same thing, so let's make them orange. This one's basically orange, and this happens after the orange, so let's make that yellow. Yeah, I mean, these are kind of similar. They perform the same function in the song. So, I mean, you know, as a dirty trick, you could always cut out these two, and then you'll notice that this will sound perfect. So if I mute this guy. Yeah, I mean, that's a trick to save you some time if you need to. You probably won't be doing that, but yeah, okay. Next section. So we're going to yellow, this is probably going to be green, and this is some, I mean, and they're basically the same. But I mean, again, you could perform the same trick. You could cut out the center section if you really needed to shorten that down, just strat for time. Next section. Now, the vast majority of things are going to be, you know, 4 or 8 measures apart. So, no, I mean, that simplifies your cutting. You notice here that this thing sounds the same as your beginning color here. So here we can, you know, kind of cut apart the structure of the song. So this is, we're going to mark this red with the same color. So, you know, that helps us visually identify the difference. And this is an orange section. So this is almost certainly the same as it is over here. So we're going to cut that up. I mean, of course, we'll do sanity checks, but that's probably going to be orange. This is probably going to be orange. And these are probably both going to be yellow. So those are the same, yellow. So those are going to be the same. Next section. And this is the same as this section. So we're going to mark this green. Next. Double check. And this section is the same as here. So cut that over there and we'll probably mark this as blue. Chop that in half just to be safe. Yep, okay, next. So you can usually tell visually when there's a break or a bridge or whatever you call these sections. Usually I just discard of these because, you know, as you can tell, this thing is, you know, 43 seconds long and we only have 2 minutes to play with. So usually all of this will be cut out. And this starts 1 measure off, which is going to be kind of a pain in the ass, but it's not too big of a deal. So we're just going to ignore this, leave it white, not allocated for now. This section is going to be the same as the previous section. It's the same as the blue sections here. So let's mark that up. Also, you can drag these things back and forth to change their size, so they will overlap each other. So this is kind of similar to this. I'm just going to change it to a blue because, I mean, it's not exactly the same. We've heard this before, and this is our red section. So let's mark that. That's probably where it ends. Just, you know, visually you can tell by looking at the waveform where sections will end. Right, and that's the end of the song. So let's mark that purple. Okay, Okay, great. So here we have the overall structure of the song. You can obviously see some parts are going to repeat, some parts aren't. And if you want to cut this thing down in 2 minutes, usually you're just going to take the ending of the song and you're going to smash it to the beginning of the song. So you'll see here we got a, what is it, blue, dark blue, red, purple here. And over here we have another section here where this kind of blue, red sort of thing repeats. So that means all of this, usually we can cut out. If you want to duplicate all this, you can just select everything, hold down shift, and then hold down control and drag this down, and it's going to make a duplication of the thing. Try to drag it out of the way. Alright, you can mute the original, and this is going to be the second one. So this is the original song, right? I like to preserve this, and this is going to be what we're actually going to work with. Over here on the right, you can mute or unmute certain tracks over here, and that's what this does. So we're going to go over here, and we're going to cut out basically everything from here to here. Except I might want to preserve this transition section. So let's cut out everything from here to here. And then let's bring this over here and slap it on the beginning. Come on. Did I? Fuck. I am one measure off. Fuck my life. Scoot over. There we go. Okay. So here, this is where our splice is. It's actually right around here. So you want to listen to this to make sure it sounds correct. Okay, that's kind of weird. So, did I fuck up? I probably fucked up. Anyway, we can drag this back. Usually, 2 or 4 measures will do the trick. So, let's see what that sounds like. Oh, I did fuck up. Okay, let me try this again. I didn't drag this down properly. Okay, hopefully this time I didn't shift everything off. Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. Oh, one take. Take all of this shit, delete that, and we're going to bring this up so it slams into there. So this is where our splice is now, so let's listen to the splice, double check it sounds perfect. I still don't really like the sound of that, so I'm going to do what you just did earlier. We're going to take this guy and drag it back about 2 measures. See if this splice sounds okay, because this should sound just fine now because this is part of the song. We want to make sure this sounds fine. Alright, perfect. That sounds just fine. Let's check our length. Here to here, and at the bottom of the screen, that selects is... duration is 2 minutes and 12 seconds, so we're right on target. Now there's this really long intro section here that we probably don't give a shit about, so... we can probably just cut it right here. Yeah, that's a good part to start, because we don't want to listen to this. Yeah, okay, nobody cares. Get rid of that. Usually you can, if you want to if you don't want to cut it exactly there, because there's going to be a clip there, you can give it some extra blank space here, and then just take the volume, and then you can press B to go back and forth the drawing mode, and just slam that shut for there. There, that should sound fine. So now our total edit should be this. And that gives us a length of 2 minutes and 5 seconds, which is basically right on target. And that's just the song as normal. Our splice is right here. So yeah, this is how you check overall. You've got all the important parts of the song. You've got this whole first half of the song. All of this has already happened before, so you're not missing any important parts of the song. This is like some weird bridge thing which we're going to be cutting out because it's so long. And the end of the song is basically the beginning of the song minus plus something at the end. So here you have all the important parts of the song, but condensed into, a nice 2 minute long package. To export this, finally, you're going to export this into a wave, and you're going to have to refix into an OGG or some shit. So you're going to go File, Export Audio. First thing that, so yeah, usually just going to export the master track. Actually, let me redo that. You want to, it will usually export the entire thing, and so you'll have few minutes of silence. So it's easier if you just click the beginning thing, shift click to the end so it's selected, and then just export just this. So we're going to go File, Export Audio, and a rendered track, and it'll show, the render start and end are going to show, some measures that you've selected. So that way you won't have 30 seconds of blank space in the front and few minutes of empty space at the back. File type is usually going to be WAV or AIFF, so that's all you got choices to. You can go from WAV to OGG or whatever. Don't normalize, don't convert it to mono. It should have already been, you're not changing the volume or anything, so it should be just fine. None of this is going to be important. You're just going to hit export. Here I can just put it to the export, so Untitled WAV on the desktop. And that's it. Alright, and then of course you can open this thing on the desktop in your favorite audio editor. And you'll see, here's your thing. Just a bunch of extra space at the end. We'll just chop that out. Okay, great. Here you can do sync, check in Audacity where you check where this thing starts sample wise, and then you can always save this again as an OGG Vorbis or whatever you want to do. So you get the idea. Okay.